Hello everyone and welcome to a book haul. I have been collecting quite a few books over the past 2 months. Maybe too many books, one might say, but not me. You know, books don't expire. Why not keep buying them? I'm gonna read them eventually. Love buying books. So I love watching book hauls so much. It's kind of a bad habit because my list for what I want to buy just keeps growing and growing. But I just thought I would show you the books I bought recently. There's quite a few. I forget how many, but we're on 20. So here we go. All right, the first book I picked up was A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. And this is part of a fantasy duology by her. My best friend Sam recommended this book to me. She became obsessed with it. And we have pretty similar reading tastes, so I knew this was something I definitely wanted to pick up. So the story takes place in Cadence, and Jack, the main character, is brought back to his hometown, Cadence, because a bunch of girls are going missing, and the town believes that he's the only one that can solve the mystery and find the missing girls. I don't really know a lot more about it. I'm just really excited to read it. I also love how it's a duology. I do love a good duology because sometimes I feel like fantasy series can kind of drag out for too long. Sometimes it depends, but I'm really excited to read this. The next book I decided to pick up is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. He's the author of House in the Cerulean Sea, which I've read, and I read that a really long time ago, but I loved it. I believe this was his second book that was released maybe like 2 years ago or something, and I've always wanted to read it. So I don't know much about it, but which I like not knowing a lot about books before I read them. This book starts off with Wallace, who is greeted by the Reaper at his own funeral. He starts figuring out that he might be dead, and so in order to outrun the Reaper and try to live as long as possible, Wallace then stumbles into a tea shop where the owner, Hugo, tries to help Wallace cross over, but can only give Wallace 1 week. So Wallace decides to try to live as much life within that week as possible. And I don't really know what's going to happen. I was at the bookstore with my sister, the bookstore that she used to work at, and one of her friends really recommended this book. She just said that it was full of ghosts, it was cozy, it was heartwarming, and just a really cute atmosphere. So that just sounds perfect to snuggle up and read this book. So yeah. The next book I have is Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. And this was given to me for Christmas by one of my best friends, JJ. So my two best friends, Sam and JJ, and we have all formed a book club together. So each month we rotate who gets to pick what book. And JJ has picked this book for February. I know that people are obsessed with it. I think the narrator is an octopus, I'm pretty sure. My mom read this book. She loved it. I've heard really great things. And yeah, I'm excited to read this for next month. And the book that I got from Sam for Christmas was Pride and Prejudice. Not only is this a gorgeous edition of Pride and Prejudice, but my friend Sam, she is such a talented artist, and she literally painted the hand-holding scene from the 2005 adaptation, which is one of my favorite movies, along with so many other people. Look how beautiful that is. This is like one of my new Pride and Prejudice. Oh my gosh. This is one of my new prized possessions. I'm excited to read this because I've actually never read the book. I obviously love the adaptation, and I'm excited to read it. Next book is a highly anticipated read from me, and this is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I loved Divine Rivals. I actually have the Fairy Loot Special Edition Divine Rivals, and I was gonna wait to get the Ruthless Vows Fairy Loot Edition, but I couldn't wait any longer, so I just decided I would get this, and because I'm insane, I will probably try to get the Fairy Loot one as well. I don't want to give any spoilers for this book because it is a sequel, but go read Divine Rivals. It's so good. I recommend it to literally everyone. I'm so excited to see how Iris and Roman's story continues. Another highly anticipated read that I purchased was The Fifth Heartstopper. I love this series so much. I really don't read that many graphic novels. Like I really like them. I guess I just don't really get around to doing them. I own all of the Heartstoppers, and I love orange so much, and the spine for this one is orange. And I thought that the fifth was going to be the last one that they come out with. That's what I heard. But I guess there's a sixth book coming, and I'm super excited. Again, can't really give any details without spoiling it, but Nick and Charlie So cute. If you haven't seen the TV show, I love the Netflix series of Heartstopper. I think it is so precious. Very excited to read this. Next book is The 7-Year Slip. I actually just finished reading this, and this was my first read of 2024, and I absolutely loved it. You get 5 stars. I'm so happy I have a physical copy. I wish that I don't even like tab or annotate that often, but I wish I would have tabbed like my favorite quotes and stuff. That just means I have to do a reread sometime soon. But yes, this is 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This book takes place in New York City, where our main character, Clementine West, has just recently experienced her aunt passing away and leaving her magical apartment with her. So one day when Clementine is at her aunt's old apartment, she magically goes back 7 years into the past, meets someone, and they form a really unique relationship. This book is just, there's so many layers to it. Like, I wouldn't even really, it is a romance book, but there's just so much depth to this book and so many good themes, and I really couldn't put it down once I started like getting really into it. Now holds a very special place in my heart. I definitely want to reread, and it's becoming one of my favorites. The next book I got, I was kind of unsure for a while if I wanted to pick this up, but I did, and this is Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld? I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't really know a lot about this. I know that, I think that, yeah, the main character is a sketch writer. I think the main character, I mean, the guy is supposed to be like Pete Davidson, right? Or something. I feel like I heard something like that. I think it's less of a romance, more just like contemporary in general is what I've heard. It says a pop sensation with a reputation for dating models. So maybe it isn't Pete Davidson, but I don't know. I'm not sure. It sounds really interesting, and I wanted to pick it up. And look at the cover. I love pink and red together, so I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but it does influence whether or not I want to have it on my shelf or just have it on my Kindle, you know? Next book is You Again by Kate Goldbeck, and I read this, I think, last month, and I absolutely loved it. I love When Harry Met Sally, and it's kind of reminiscent on that. The main character, Ari, is kind of supposed to be a little bit more like Harry's persona, and the main guy, Josh, is supposed to be kind of more Sally's persona. So it is fun. It is fun seeing like what they took from the original movie and transferred to the book. It was interesting to see one of my like favorite movies be changed a little bit to fit into more of a book format, and I did really enjoy it. I thought it was super good. So, and this cover, like, this is all the fall vibes that, like, I read this during the fall, and it was such a good, I don't know, to put me in the fall vibes, fall mindset. Next book I have already read, but I wanted my own physical copy. I ended up getting this from Pango Books for like $5, so I was like, why not? And this is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I did really enjoy this. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorites. But it was a good time. Everyone talks about this book all the time. I feel like I don't even need to give a synopsis, but if you like hockey romances, I've never read one before, and this was my first one, and I enjoyed it. The next book I picked up is Darius the Great Is Not Okay, and I ended up getting this in the used book section at my bookstore, so I figured why not. My sister loves this book and was really recommending it to me, so she forced me to purchase it. So this is about Darius Kellner, who is half Persian, and him and his family take a trip to Iran. Darius then ends up meeting a boy while he's there, and they end up sparking some sort of relationship. My sister described it as just a coming-of-age story, that she really loved it, so I wanted to pick it up. Another book I got used was Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I got this actually on Pango Books as well when I was purchasing Icebreaker. You know, to combat shipping costs, I needed to get another book to even it out. You know how it is. I know we've all seen this everywhere. I feel like this is like the OG TikTok book talk book. My friend Sam, this is like one of her favorites. I'm not well versed in Greek mythology, so I hope I'll still be able to read this. I'm pretty sure I can. I know it's like with Achilles and Patroclus. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I know it's like a love story. I know it's going to shatter me into a million pieces. I think I need that right now. So, yes. Next book everyone has been talking about and that is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I know this is a gothic fantasy book. Everyone says that they're like obsessed with this book, and I think that the romance is really good in it. I forget what type of trope it is. I know that the sequel, I think, just came out. I forget if it's a duology or if it's a longer series, but yes, picked this one up. Then also in the used book section, My Roommate is a Vampire. I wasn't gonna pick this book up, I remember when it released, but I did hear people saying that it was really fun, and I think that the vampire, I think it's something, I don't know, there's like a lot of Taylor Swift references, which I thought was really funny. I thought this would just be a good book to pick up just when I need a light read, something fun, something funny, and it was only like $3, so why not? Okay, this next book, I'm so mad at myself that I was in a reading slump all of December because I purchased this book specifically for December, and I was so excited to read it. It is Love in Winter Wonderland by Abiola Bello. Look how cute this cover is. It's a YA romance. The boy Trey in this book, his family owns the oldest Black-owned bookstore in London. And the girl Ariel, she needs money for her prestigious art school. So they both have to end up working together to help the bookstore on the brink of gentrification. It's kind of like an enemies to lovers situation, I believe. And it all takes place during Christmas. I'm really sad I didn't read it last month, but I might just read it this month because I really want to. It sounds so cute. Another YA romance that I got was Check and Mate. And I say YA because I did already read this. I did really like this book, but I think it's wrong to be categorized as a YA. If we're talking about like 12 to 14-year-olds, if that's who we're marketing YA to, there are a lot of mature topics and a few mature scenes in this book that I think are kind of inappropriate for that age category. If we are pushing a new adult category, I feel like this would be more new adult or just regular adult category. So that was kind of unfortunate. I feel like I'm hesitant to recommend it as a YA, but I did end up really liking it. It's just unfortunate that it was marketed by a YA. And this is by Ali Hazelwood, but everyone knows that. So I'm trying to read one nonfiction a month this year. I've always been fascinated with like Salem witch trials, whatever. I always loved The Crucible and everything. So I got this book, In Defense of Witches by Mona Colette, I'm not sure. In Defense of Witches, The Legacy of the Witch Hunts and Why Women Are Still on Trial. And this just sounded like such an interesting read. I believe what they're doing is they're comparing how the witch trials back in the day are kind of still prevalent in today's society with different things that women have to face and still oppressed by society. So I kind of don't want to know a lot before I get into it, but next book is Pride by Ibi Zoboi. This was in the used section as well. My sister Claire, she always recommends books to me because she's also obsessed with reading. And this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling in Brooklyn. And so that sounded super fun. I love Pride and Prejudice retellings or anything of this sort. Don't know a lot about it, but it sounded really cute. It's very short, so I thought this would be a nice quick read. And it's also YA, so I think that will make it interesting as well. And yes. Next book is A British Girl's Guide to Hurricanes and Heartbreak by Laura Taylor Namey. This was also in the used section. I remember when this came out and I was going to purchase it because I loved A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow by the same author, but I didn't want to pay full price for a YA romance in hardcover. I don't know what it is about that. Something with romances in hardcovers, I don't know. I just can't get behind. I feel like they need to be paperback, but that's just my own opinion. So the main character is Flora. This book takes place in Miami. I can't remember if Flora was in Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. The main character in that book, I can't remember her name, but she was from Miami and went to London, and this girl is from London and goes to Miami. It was so long ago that I read that book. Can't really remember, but it almost makes me want to reread that book and then read this book, even though I'm pretty sure I won't need to. Need and want are two different things. So yes, I picked this up. Next is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I did end up reading this for my Taylor Swift Songs Pick My Next Read. Go watch it. This is about Aurora and Russ, who At the beginning of the book, they have a one-night stand, and there's kind of some miscommunication after that one-night stand happens. They end up for the summer working at a summer camp together. They bump into each other and, you know, things happen. I don't want to spoil it because with romance books, I feel like they're easy to spoil. It was really cute. I mean, this wasn't my favorite. I really liked Aurora, the main character. In my Taylor Swift video, I do a full review. The covers of these books are so cute. I almost like have to pick them up. I'm so excited for the next one. I forget what it's called. Yeah, I picked this up. And I'm a Fairy Loot subscriber, Fairy Loot YA book only subscriber. And so I just wanted to show the books I got for November and December. For my November read, I got The Scarlet Alchemist by Kylie Lee Baker. Look how beautiful this edition is. I love the Fairy Loot books. Like, are you kidding? Look at that. Literally gorgeous. So this is my November one. So I have that. I kid you not, this December Fairy Loot book, I think it's the prettiest one they have ever made. It's What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. Look how gorgeous this cover is. I know it's something about like archaeology and something. Look at the sprayed edges. I love this color pink. Here's the inside. And it's blurred by Rebecca Ross, who wrote Divine Rivals. Look how gorgeous that is. It's absolutely insane. So it's blurred by Stephanie Garber and Rebecca Ross. Those are two authors of books that I absolutely love. So Divine Rivals and the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I'm hoping this book's really good. I want to read that like now. So yeah, those were all the books that I purchased in the past 2 months. Will I stop buying books? No, probably not, because I got a very nice gift card from my aunt for Christmas at my favorite bookstore. More books to come probably, but I'll try to stretch that as far as possible. I've got a lot of reading material for this cold weather coming up. So yeah, that's what I got. I hope you enjoyed, and make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below which book I should start reading first. But yeah, bye guys.